What if that bird stabbed you in the temple?
It's a fair question.
Funny. 1, 2, 3.
that was-
Hey, everybody! Welcome to the Youth Ministry Garage, episode 184. It's too bad we have not recorded the last 20 minutes of Matt telling a story that had no beginning, no middle, and no end.
Where
it
was
almost
the
made
punchline?
me cry. But we've got a great show planned because there's incredible questions, way too many that we can get into. We also have a first today.
Oh.
We have an audience in the garage, and I'm going to actually Twitter the picture of this audience. But we have Megan, who's been a listener since she's a 00 listener.
Whoa.
And Megan is on Katie's staff. Katie only hires double listener,
Yeah.
double zero listeners.
Here on out. That's it.
And she is the first time we've had a
Just
non.
like she's a 00 listener.
Well,
No, I said that before you were here. I said Megan has actually
We need
heard more
we need her
podcasts than she's been on.
Yeah.
So Megan is the first one to visit the garage. Megan,
Yeah,
why don't you just
welcome.
step up a little bit and just give your
Yeah,
give your
let's see
impression real
everybody
quick
see you.
about what you think of the garage. You can just say what you said, real quick.
What I think about the garage?
Yeah.
I think the garage is amazing, and it was a great time when I wasn't working in full-time youth ministry to have it on in the background so I could have youth ministry part of my daily life.
Background.
Wow, this is like a commercial for us.
What about the actual garage? Like, no, I love the fact that
Thank you for the promo.
Yeah.
But
What did you think when you actually sat in the garage?
This is a lot different than I thought it was going to be.
In what way?
More magical.
It's much smaller.
It's
yes.
a one-car garage. The
It is.
two-car garage
Yeah.
is over there.
that's over there.
We're in the one-car garage.
There is some magic in here, though.
There is.
You can feel it.
As well as some rats.
Couple rats.
We got a rat trap set.
We had a bird flying.
Bird
a
just
second
flew
ago.
in.
It's like
But because McGill
National
was so
Geographic.
late, we missed
This
the
is a
trash
wildlife
cans.
show.
We're really in a garage, though.
But it really is.
Your
yeah.
testimony to that.
Should we dig in?
Yeah,
Or
we're-
should we
Yes.
spend time making fun of the fact that McGill...
This is Doug. That's Matt.
Oh, yeah. Hi,
Katie.
everybody.
I'm Josh.
The host.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Sometimes I have to pick up the slack, and it's been almost a week since we had a show up, so
Yeah.
we're back.
Yes,
We're
that's
back.
right.
7 days later, here we are.
We are back, and we're not going to make fun of the fact that Matt forgot to upload episode 183. Do you want to just... Why don't you just apologize to our
Yeah.
loyal listeners?
That pays so much for this thing?
No, it doesn't matter. They still are worth
Loyalty
they're
is worth
expecting?
more than treasure.
Yeah. They give us permission
Yeah,
to be
no,
in
I'm
their
totally
ears
sorry
every
for
week.
not uploading.
How long was it on your computer for?
I have
About a
no
month?
idea.
We all thought it was uploaded.
I thought for
If you guys
sure.
cared more about the show, you would have known it wasn't up, and you would have encouraged your brother in Christ to do something.
So I'm in where was I last week? In Boston.
Uh-huh.
And one of the
Good one.
youth workers comes up to me
Called Community, guys.
a break and says, "You got to tell McGill." That's my Boston,
Oh,
which is
that's
actually
good.
I think more New
Close.
York.
Yeah.
You got to tell McGill. New York is not part of New England. And I
Oh.
said, "Why don't you tell McGill?" So I videotaped.
And send it
Guy.
out.
Which I still
That's
don't
awesome.
believe that guy.
We need him.
Did he sound like that?
Rock solid
I have
impression.
no idea what he sounded like, but
I showed it to you on the way home
I
from the
know,
airport.
I saw it.
Yeah.
I gotta see that in
Look,
Wikipedia or something.
questions.
Anyway, you guys, look, welcome. We've got incredible
Good segue.
sponsors. Our
Thank you.
primary sponsor, Youth Specialties. Cue the music.
Do they have me there?
Youth Ministry 360, who sent us a whole bunch of new stuff to give away.
Yeah.
Leader Trex, who, sent...
Yes, look at
maybe
all
it's
that.
a copy for all of you guys. I don't know.
It
Excellent.
says for youth workers on there.
Remedy Live,
That's us.
who is hosting our show, executive producer Seth Bartlett,
Mm-hmm.
and Azusa Pacific University, which the master's program starts in just a few weeks.
Can't wait.
I
Excited
thought
to
we
be
were
a part
going to
of
be a
it.
part of that.
You guys have never showed any interest.
I told you I was very interested.
All right. I can help you get into the master's program for cheap.
Oh,
All right.
Can we give Megan something for visiting?
Let's go with this broken watch.
No, that's
Oh,
cute.
that's-
It's time. Time to end.
I think she should get a prize for sitting
Megan,
through this.
For
we-
studio
here-
audience today?
here-
Yeah.
Here's what you get. Moving on. Knowing where you're going and how
Oh,
to get
that's
there. This
not
is from
the
Doug
book.
Franklin. This is
Leader
this is
Trex.
a book for kids that are moving on to college. I haven't read it yet, but it looks great. I'm very excited about it.
Awesome.
You can have it.
Congratulations.
Leader Trex
Wow.
is what you're saying.
Be careful
No,
what you
it's great.
start here, because we could have a live studio audience here every other week. Or...
You'd have to be on somebody's staff
No, that's
to,
true.
to get in.
Megan, you're very lucky then.
This is
You're
from
welcome.
Lindell Peterson, who lives in Balcom Hills. No,
Florida.
it doesn't say, so we can't send
Sorry.
this person a gift. And I don't know if
Sorry.
Lindell, girl or boy,
Lindell?
male
Could
or
be boy.
female. Let's see.
There's a
Let's
football
go
player
with-
named Lindell White, so
All right.
yeah.
Long-time listener, first-time questioner. I'm 24-year-old teen pastor living in Sydney, Australia.
Ooh.
Good day.
Just entered my second year of ministry. When I first started, I inherited a team that was lacking leadership and direction. I read PDYM and formed a vision, etc., and have been working my butt off ever since and really experienced the joy of working with high schoolers. However, my personal devotional life is suffering because I always seem so busy. I understand it takes a lot of work to put a youth ministry back on its feet, but I don't think my devotional life should suffer. Here's my question. How do you guys maintain a consistent personal devotional time, and what are some practical ways that I can keep tuned into God to better set boundaries in my ministry? It's a great question.
It's a great question,
Unfortunately, only me and Matt are able to
Qualified to
answer.
answer.
Just kidding.
Hey, look at me when you say just kidding. Dude. Come on.
Well, we just one of us really likes Grace.
We were just saying earlier in the show that I don't really make fun of Katie, so I was
That
thinking
was it.
I
That's
had
good.
to
Thank
make
you.
the first,
Helping me climb the ladder.
the first opportunity, because to our friends who are listening, Matt said we were making fun of Matt, which we always do before the show, and he said to Megan, the one you make fun of the most is the most valuable.
Yeah.
And I said if that was true, we'd be making fun of Katie.
Yeah. So thanks for having an inside joke that wasn't great.
No, I explained it. It was excellent. People are very happy. They'll write in about
right
that.
on par with your story.
All right. Yeah,
So-
but a lot shorter.
Thank you.
Lindell, how would you answer Lindell?
I would say, first of all, realize you're not alone. That we have all struggled with that at times, and many, many, many youth workers do as well. To go super practical, I will tell you what I'm doing in this season, and it changes from season to season. But right now, I'm using uversion.com, and they actually email a clip of the Bible reading and a little devotional reading to you every day when you sign up for a reading plan. And for me, I kind of start my day on email in front of the Mac and kind of right there, and it's a great trigger before I get to everything else. Start right there in my personal time with God, and it's really been great. I'm on day 15 out of about 30. And I really, really like it. It's been a good new rhythm for me to help me have some time with God before I jump into everything else.
So you don't see the little icons down below that says email 22 and all your RSS feeds and all that stuff. That doesn't trigger your
I'm not saying it's not flawless or whatever, but I'm saying this is a new one for me in the last few weeks that I've really enjoyed. To be totally honest with you, I don't have the long-term stability of one system over my lifetime. I'm very much I'm going to give this a shot. I'm going to try this. I'm going to pick up this new resource. I'm going to look at this devotional guide. I'm going to do something alongside of what our church might be doing.
So you're a little spiritually ADHD.
A little bit, yeah, a lot of it.
So have you read the actual entire Bible?
I have.
All the way through?
I have 3
Okay,
times.
that's
And I read the
good.
New Testament in December, which was a big deal for me. It was one of my major commitments. But that,
That
again,
is
was a
a cool
season.
thing. That's
That was
cool.
a season.
Yeah.
So could I do the Old Testament right now? I don't know.
You just the thing about you is you just walk with Jesus all the time.
That's it.
It's a 24/7.
That's how I roll, guys.
So much
Yeah,
more
why do I
than
need
just
to
a bunch of rituals.
See the tenderness in this voice to make you think that is how I live every day?
I don't even see it, I hear it.
Feel it.
How about you, Matt? What would you say to our good brother, good mate,
Yeah.
Good day.
Brother or
good
sister, Lynn Shell.
Lindell?
No, it is every season of life is different. I mean, when I was in high school, my devotional life looked one way. In college, actually very similar in high school and college. But then when I started ministry, it was different. When I got married, it was different. And then kids, I mean, I'm not even sure that. I mean, it's just so hard. I'm not even sure I've figured out
Not even sure you're a
my
Christian
system.
anymore.
Yeah, I'm not even sure who Jesus is. What's his first name? But for me, I mean, I don't have a lot of consistency where I do the same thing every day for months on end, but I do have the same pattern. Like, so maybe I do have a lot of consistency. Is what I'm trying to say is, but I have, I have a couple prayers that I like to do every morning. I have kind of just from my journals over the years, I've got a bunch of lessons that I've learned that I don't want to forget. I forget so much stuff that I usually read that twice a week all the way through, and it's just some of my favorite verses and things that I've learned. So I've got like things in there that were from like a field sermon when I was a sophomore in high school or something, and
Cool.
and so that to me, like the morning is a time where I want to remember and in the nighttime is a time where I want to reflect, or where I really want to reflect on the day and learn something new. And so I won't necessarily. I used to journal every day. I don't do that like I used to. I'm now journaling probably 3 times a week, 2 times a week if it's really busy. But part of it's with kids. Like it just gets you tired, and and spending time there, and busy schedule. I think for the biggest thing that I would pass on as a transferable principle is to say you need to discover what it is that you do to grow. Like, I think obviously everyone needs to have prayer in their life at some shape. Everyone needs to have an influx of God's word. And there needs to be some kind of reflection, I would say, which is probably similar to prayer, but that looks different to everybody. Yeah. And so I would say, if you know what your sweet spot is, what the recipe is for you, not that it's as simple as a recipe, but you need to have that discovered first and add that to your life. So you're a huge journaler. That's why I got that challenge from you when I was in high school, and journaling has been really important. I find when I'm really confused by people around me, it's because I haven't been journaling about it and reflecting.
Yeah, but you're very good. You're probably better than anybody I know in terms of really taking time to reflect. I was talking to Kathy about you the other day, because sometimes your Twitters, I don't even get them. I said, they're so reflective, I don't even get it. Kathy said, sometimes. It seems like all the time.
Yeah.
But
deep.
They're deep.
They're
deep. They're deep. I think that's a lot of times we say that about people who are smart and confusing, that they're deep, but
when they're sloppy.
Well, I actually just spent a little time praying that your story would end again, so that was great. I appreciate you giving me that little moment.
See, always walking 24/7.
Just right there.
In the spirit.
Those great prayers.
He also asks, what are ways I can keep tuned into God and set better boundaries in my ministry? What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Because if you don't, the reality is, and I was on a 2-hour phone conference today with youth workers around the country that are part of Jeannie Mayo's cadre, and I was talking about kind of boundaries and pace and busyness, and this is an issue for, every youth worker resonated with this, that ministry can strip all the boundaries away where your life just becomes about ministry and not about devotion. So, Katie, how do you, and then we'll move on to another question, but how do you set boundaries to protect your heart?
Well, a big part of setting boundaries is definitely pausing and figuring out what you value most and what your priorities are. And, for me, my relationship with Jesus, my relationship with Ron, my relationship with my kids, those 3 relationships are at the top of what I value, what my priorities are. So they should be getting chunks of the best of me. So thinking through my time during the week, there are times where I have to turn off technology or not turn on technology or walk away from things. A lot of times I leave my laptop at the office. I don't even bring it home with me, so that, because if it's a night where it's like, hey, it's just
you
not
play
my kids.
Diablo 3 that way.
I
Fair
don't.
question.
I'm so sorry. I know.
It's a 4th priority. Video games.
But I think sometimes you have to, you just have to discipline yourself to turn off the world and turn off ministry. And sometimes things, unfortunately, you miss something, or things will fall through the cracks every once in a while. But these 3 relationships have to get the best of Katie, and so I have to make sure that during my week that's happening. And so I have to turn off ministry sometimes and turn off, all the different devices that tell me about all the things in ministry I'm not doing or need to do better, or, which is a really hard, I think, discipline to learn over time. As a young youth worker, I had 0 boundaries, even before I got married, working until midnight, coming in, working weird hours and stuff, and then having to adjust all of those things. Totally.
All the work management.
Coffee pot at 3 a.m., those types of things as interns. But I think really kind of prioritizing your day. And I think you told me that you and Kath sit down on Mondays and kind of plan your whole week and your calendar and your family time. And I think that's a great thing to do when you're setting boundaries. Is it's hard to set boundaries in the moment. Yeah. So you've got to plan ahead a little bit when you're going to set boundaries in your ministry and and with your relationship with Christ, planning out, what, these are some great chunks of me that I'm going to give to Christ this week. So I think that's an important part of setting boundaries.
That's good.
Love it.
Well, Lindell from Australia, we're going to send you something from Youth Ministry 360.
All right.
Youth Ministry 360.
Do you know why there's 360 degrees in a circle? Do you remember that? I asked him Wire the other day. I thought for sure he'd know.
I can tell you how to figure out the area within a trapezoid.
That sounds interesting also.
I don't know. A lot of stuff
Should we
going
ask
on here.
Siri?
Text Ron, he would know.
He would know.
He knows all that stuff.
I don't want to text him during the show.
Okay.
I like to be
Cool.
focused.
Wow, that was really,
Just
really
kidding.
nice.
You walk
Hey,
away from your technology.
Also-
Have Megan text for you.
Let's remind everybody that we have a website called youthministrygarage.com that usually 2 to 3 times a week we send a question and we put it up. We can't get to all the questions, so we put it up on the site. And here's one from Derek Altom. What are you laughing at?
Nothing. Nothing. Go ahead.
Wow.
I mean, it's not even inappropriate. It's just distracting.
Well, gosh, that's
Yeah, at
pretty
this
much
point.
the asterisk next to your name. So we're going to put one up about a good. Do you ever, Megan? Do you ever go to the website?
I do, yes.
Do you ever interact? Do you ever chime in?
I have, back when you were live, I would do the live chat and all of that, but I haven't chimed
With
in with
Brazel?
questions yet. Yeah.
Back when we were live.
Oh, those were the days.
Those were the days.
Now we
I
just
wish
post
someone
them 2 or
would-
3 months later.
Yeah. You know what though? I would love.
It's funny that you think that
Yeah.
bothers
If we start talking about this being the middle of summer, people will think the show is like almost live.
Absolutely.
Man, isn't July great, everybody?
All right. This is from Kevin Class, Lakewood, Washington. Oh crud.
Oh boy.
Don't
Use my name. You can see it coming.
Oh, dang it.
redacted.
Dang it.
We'll hit it
Dang
next
it.
week.
All right.
That was, in all fairness, that isn't bolded. It's
That's all right. I just went to his name instead of.
All right,
Yeah.
maybe next week. Go
All
ahead.
right.
Somebody prep these shows.
I prepped the shows. Look at all the comments that I write
You've
on
got
here and
so
stuff
much
like that.
organizing happening.
I know. Okay, my name is Phil Dickey. That's how he starts.
Yeah,
Which
strong.
I like that. That way, you know.
You know.
Except he says, "Hey, Freeds."
Freeze.
Typo.
Ah, typo.
Freeds.
Oh, Phil.
Uh-huh.
Siri.
You had answered my issue back in episode 170. Josh talked about a giant plate of spaghetti. Hope that jogged your memory.
That could have been any show.
Shortly after the episode came out, the church let me go due to budget cuts. I recently got a new job in the Texas Valley. I've been here for 2 months now. What are your suggestions for entering a new youth pastor position the first 6 months? What do you think? The first 6 months.
I think a great place to start is just to start meeting people and building relationships. Try to figure out who maybe are some of the volunteers that have been around for, the longest or a longer time. Start to get to know them and just, hearing their story and, where the ministry's been, some of the parents,
Okay, that's your first step.
I think I would start with, some relationships. Great. I mean, I think obviously I would mix strategy and purpose and all of that kind of stuff in there, but, just getting to know people, I think is such a big part of you becoming part of the community.
Yeah. Good. Josh?
I would be cautious about what you promise right out of the gate, because usually when you start out in youth ministry, people with an axe to grind or hated the old person or pet program that da-da-da-da, and you in your trying to figure things out and listening and relationship building could promise something that later you'll realize is a terrible decision, or you'll realize the undercurrent that you were
change it.
yeah
You can't deliver.
Exactly. And also at the same time you might also appease those that are very pleased, and there could be a sacred cow that you're also saying yes to, when in reality that should be the first thing that you cut. So I know there's a lot of good answers for this, but the one that came to my mind was just be careful what you say, what you promise, and what you offer up, especially in those 6 months. You almost can't trust much in that first 6 months. You're just fact finding, you're observing, you're learning. So be careful about how much you project onto the future.
Good. You've been there a year, a year and 4 months or so.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say move slow. I had to move. On some things, I had to move a lot faster than I would have liked. But I think that relationships is really important. I think to translate, don't make promises. I would to a slightly different shade of that is don't make strong decisions. Don't make decisions that have long-lasting consequences. Don't be so quick to do stuff like that. I think listening to people is really important. That's part of the relationships thing. I also think that you don't want to bash the past. You don't want to be negative, and you don't have anything to gain by that. When you build a community, or when you build relationship, that's the foundation is the negativity. Like, oh, we're all united by we hating the past. There's not a lot of strength there, and there's not a lot of you can't do a lot with that as you want to move forward and change students' lives. But yeah, so I'd say I totally agree with relationships. I think that's great. I totally think moving slow and not making promises is important. Not talking bad about the past. I think learning the history is important. I don't think it's that important. I mean, I think learning the culture is important. What's that?
I think it's pretty important, dude.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Spending a lot of time on the history?
I think it's an important thing.
Yeah,
well,
way to bash the...
There's bashing the past right there.
I try to differentiate, though, because I think you mean more the culture of, like, how where things are right now. I think you're
nice
more
for other people to tell you what you mean.
Yeah, that's totally.
That's how
I'm sure that's how I felt.
So yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, what I would do is bash.
I mean, you obviously don't care about the.
How do you feel about that, man?
Yeah.
Well, you can't help it. To some degree, there will be inevitable comparisons to you,
right?
And you're there. The last person's gone, and so the temptation is going to be to kind of rail on them and diss them, or especially if they're left under bad circumstances or whatever. So,
well, it's easy to do. It's
absolutely
not good.
Not good.
No. You don't develop a reputation of integrity or even care by slamming on the past. You might get a quick, cheap win out of it and feel better about yourself. But I'd say I'd probably pick up a little bit on I think what Katie nodded to with relationships, and I'd really dive into the leaders that are currently there, if there are any, and find out what's their unique contribution been, where have they been, what's their strength, what's their heart, do they want to keep going, what have they seen in the past, and kind of make them heroes and come alongside of them and really spend some time developing leaders. Those would be my first moves.
And get them excited, because it's a scary thing for a volunteer when leadership changes, and they're like, do I have a place here? Can I still serve? So I think meeting with them is a big part of coming in.
I agree. And Leader Trex has this, one of our sponsors has a packet called an interactive resource to help youth workers grow in leadership. So if you want to help develop other leaders, it looks like great stuff. I'm excited to take a look at it. It's basically a gifts test. It looks like what kind of leader are you, and then
there's a leadership house in the back of it.
Dude, this is nothing says leadership like this little packet. That Doug Franklin and the folks at Leader Trex are going to send. I can give it to you afterwards, because you'll be totally distracted. So we're going to send that Leader Trex, and I'm going to call that number 3, because there's 3 things we can give. I'll explain that to Deb later, who sends this stuff out.
Congratulations.
Megan, did you know that? Did you know how organized I am? Did you
realizing this?
Being a 0-0, you can kind of see it.
You can appreciate the stacks of paper, the mad organization.
Yeah. This is from Josh Burcham from Arvada, Colorado.
All right.
We need to send Josh something from Youth Specialties, our primary sponsor.
I agree. What should we send him?
How about the new Jonathan McKee, born you there, Matt?
Wake up, Matty. You're doing a show here.
Jonathan McKee's new material.
We're doing a show here mid-July.
I'm waiting for you guys to do a show.
You know what? Speaking of Youth Specialties.
Okay.
No, we're not.
Well, we're giving them product, but here's the deal. Episode 200. We're doing it, aren't we? Live?
At YS, right?
How about 200 at San Diego Live, and then 200/B in Dallas.
Yeah, 204. Whatever.
The first one won't be posted.
It'll be also 200.
That's right. You could have 200A, 200B.
No, you can't.
Done.
Well, we had a 0-0 show.
You really can't, though.
Yeah, we can.
You can't have.
No, we can make up the rules, Matt. That's what leaders can do. Leaders can make up the rules.
Quick aside on Jonathan McKee and YS. They sent out a newsletter yesterday, whatever. and Jonathan McKee had written an article about lazy youth pastors.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Incredible.
Really?
Incredible.
Obviously,
Way too long.
wasn't
Should have been 2 parts
obviously
of it.
wasn't referring to the hardest working man.
Obviously not. I couldn't relate, but I'm sure a lot of people
I'm
could.
surprised you had time to read it.
Yeah, well, I was really busy. I read it right after I did my devotions.
Oh.
So, let's go back.
But it seems crazy that the devotions
Oh, yeah.
are in the emails. Because doesn't the emails become distracting? Or do you read emails and then stop and then
Didn't
do the
I say that
devotion?
to you?
Yeah, I know, you did
I
say
asked
it,
the same
yeah.
question. Can you get on this show?
You actually said it a little different. You said seeing the badge down below with the
icons.
number of
Same
it.
essence
I
of
know.
distracted.
But-
Matt, join our show.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Criminy.
I'm just saying that's where I'm at. Day
All right.
15.
Josh
Day
Josh
15.
Burcham,
Excellent.
Arvada, Colorado. In the process with a new church for a middle school, pastor job. What are some wish I knew that before questions I should be getting answered before accepting the position? McGill, go.
Oh, wow.
But first of all, I'll give my answer. Read the last chapter of your first 2 years in youth ministry.
Yeah, that's a great
Okay.
chapter that I wrote for you.
Okay.
You know what? Let's do
That's
this.
not true.
Let's.
Send him that.
We're gonna send him that.
Just
Just
send
send the
him
first
that.
2 years. Go ahead. What would you wish you?
Um,
Because you kind of had that evil laugh. You've been there 18 months.
Yeah.
If I would have, if I would have known I was reporting to an imbecile or whatever.
Oh, I never said
I didn't
that.
say you said that. I made that up. I made that up.
Oh my gosh.
I made that
I
up.
love
You're
getting my
sensitive.
goat.
Just answer.
Yeah, you
Tender
did
Matt.
that. Yeah,
Tender
I don't even
Matt.
know who you report to. Do you have a direct report?
Kenton,
Oh.
senior pet. No, just kidding.
Answer.
Okay, I think that a huge thing, there's 2 huge things I would say, is that fit chemistry is important because the church is not just interviewing you are interviewing them, and that's really, really important. And so as hard as it is, if you don't have a position or if you really hate your current position, you do not want to jump into something because you're desperate. I mean, that is just a rough desperation.
Is that speaking from experience? Is that kind of
This part I actually don't think I've done that
Okay.
wrong.
Okay.
I don't.
What is it you wish you would have asked?
Well, I'm getting to that. That's
Oh,
number
okay.
2.
Oh,
Goodness
okay. I
me
forgot
gracious.
your story's long.
Ramble Matt. Here we go. Just an old country road. Driving down the Gill Story
So
Lane.
that's the first thing is chemistry fit. You're interviewing them. The second one is you got to figure out their expectations. You got to hear it. You got to have it clear. I think expectations is better than a job description, but maybe it's kind of the same thing. But you want to know what it is they expect. I met with a senior pastor the other day who's a friend of ours. You know, he's my youth pastor in high school, one of my youth pastors in high school. And he's looking for a position to hire on their team, and I was not interviewing with him just because we're on the podcast here. But and I was like, so tell me,
in case somebody from your church is
people. But he is very clear. He's like, I feel like this is strong in our ministry, and we have this strong in our ministry. We'd like to see this happen. We'd like to see this, and so he painted a clear picture of what he was looking for. So expectations, get those before you.
Some
you
very
show up
clear
there.
ones in the last chapter of first 2
Yeah.
years. We
Yeah.
list out.
Well, and
Yeah.
the fact that the pastor or leader or whatever would know that much about the youth ministry and be able to articulate what
Yeah,
he
it
or
was
she
very-
wants,
it
that
was
tells you
very
the
cool.
involvement level of the leadership, which is
Yeah.
high in that case.
Yeah, this guy's looking for a high school pastor, and I
Cool.
feel like since
He knows what's up.
At Mariners, I have just looked through like 85 different applications, and I've had like 35 interviews with people. I mean, I've done so much over the last few months, and we haven't hired all the positions yet. So I feel like I have like a huge pool of people. So that's why I was meeting with him to say, hey, is there a couple people that could be a good fit and stuff like that. But it was cool that he had the expectations. When I said, what do you expect of this person coming in? That was a good thing. I didn't do a great job on the expectations part. That's where, I'd come in, I had a couple questions that I did get answered, but expectations, I didn't do that. I mean, you and I joked about it beforehand. I kind of felt like I knew the expectations, but I didn't have it.
Yeah.
And honestly, the church has changed a little bit even since I got there, because the senior pastor decided to go on a sabbatical. Has never done that before. For 4 months, he's gone, and so there was a lot of what's the crazy making? Is that the phrase? There was a lot of franticness.
Not that you guys would be familiar with that at Saddleback.
Yeah, no, just every day.
that
once
was
in a
No
while,
idea
yeah.
what you're talking about.
Okay, expectations really important, but also remember you're interviewing them. They're not just interviewing you.
Do you guys have anything you wish you would have known before accepting the position?
Well, I think, like you said, just making sure that don't just throw out the word expectations, but being really specific and asking about, like, if you're married, do you have any expectations of my spouse?
Exactly
You
what I was
know,
thinking,
my
yeah.
family. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
my time off. Do you really expect me to have my phone on still, or just kind of being more specific in the word expectation, because there's ministry and then you as a person and.
Well, and even numbers, I think, too, just be direct. What is the expectation for numbers?
Oh
Because
yeah,
that's the unspoken.
the pressure
spoken.
that I'm under is the numbers
sure.
and the time.
The other one I'd add to
the time to reach the numbers.
The time to reach
Oh,
those
interesting.
numbers. Yeah. Like I should have said, hey, a year from now, where do you expect this to be? You
Right.
know, and what I should have said,
What
because I
number
knew the
is it?
ministry wasn't in a healthy place. What I should have said is, at a minimum, this will be a 3-year turnaround.
Right. Give yourself
And,
some grace to
you
help.
know, and so
start the process.
if you think 3 years is too slow, then I'm not your person.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's what I should have said, and I just didn't.
I would throw out one other thing, a little off of expectations, but I would want to know who I report to if they are really truly relational. Like everyone talks about, we do life together and we're a family and whatever. But one of the things that has drawn me to certain positions over others is the community. It's the people. It's the team. It's the I want to
leaders in
do
churches
life.
aren't
I want to
relational.
hang out with and talk. And I don't want to report to. I want to share about. And I mean, there's obviously some reporting in everybody's job and all that. But I think the relational aspect of my supervisor, the team,
Yeah, so you
whatever,
don't want your team reporting to you, huh? Just want to hang out and.
I would much rather hang out. Yeah, I would.
No, I heard you say.
No,
I heard you say. I want
I'm
people.
kidding.
I'm kidding. No,
What was I thinking again now? What was I saying?
You just haven't been paying attention much, and so I want to just make sure that we have heard what Josh is saying.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
He was the one who just said he heard what you said. I wasn't the one.
I think one of the questions that I'd ask,
a rough one for you.
go in general. Matt came in a little wounded.
He came in hot.
He
Coming
came in.
hot.
He came in wounded. Told a story that was about a C-.
Yeah.
And I think he thought in his heart it was an A.
Yeah.
And none of us really even liked the story.
Yeah, I think later the story could be good. We were like the dress
Well, we
rehearsal.
waited 30 minutes for him to get here late
yeah.
too, so we had a
I was
little anger.
22 minutes late.
expectations.
No.
I'm very sorry for that.
Yeah.
Well,
I
It was a great
I
show,
would
guys.
say. I would say.
The whole world is in the anti-Matt club. It breaks your heart at first,
Hey.
but in a couple weeks you'll be there.
You'll just laugh
trust
at
me.
it. It's fine.
Except for Katie, she was only in it for one podcast.
One podcast, that's it.
That was
Doug,
it.
what would you add to this part of our
Well, I think you
have
just
one
want to be.
question.
I think you want to be very specific in terms of how you're going to be. How is your effectiveness measured? Really, regardless if you're an intern, an associate pastor, youth pastor, how are you going to measure effectiveness?
Yeah.
And try to slice that down as much as you can, because it's more than just, oh, do you have good character and is there chemistry? Well, there's more than that. There are going to be expectations. What were the exact expectations of the last person? Why did they not work out? And try to, again, what
Yeah.
Matt said at the beginning is you are interviewing them as well. So,
Yeah.
anyway.
I like
Grab
that.
your pen.
Yeah, sure you can. Sure you
Oh,
can.
I'm a little distracted over there.
No,
Oh,
he
boy.
just said something that made me think of something that I want to do with my team.
All right.
Oh, again.
Well, the books are over there and you can get them on sale.
Hey.
Would you recommend, this is from Joseph Lyman
Absolutely.
For sure.
from Rodeo, California, or Rodeo?
Rodeo. I
Depends
say
on-
rodeo. It sounds
Depends
cooler.
on how many cowboys they have.
Would you recommend moving small groups from a midweek program
Oh, I
to
hate program
separate
questions.
nights of the week, and why?
Yes.
That's it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Why not?
One
Why
night
not
of the
try
week.
it?
One night of the week, you can only reach one slice of your student ministry. Couple nights, I think you have a better chance.
Okay. And you don't have to be at them all if they're run by volunteers.
Yeah, put great people in charge of it and make it happen. Yeah.
I'm sure we've talked about this at one time, but Matt, you remember when we had the thing at maybe you were even on high school staff, Katie. At this point, we had the no excuses year.
Yes.
Do you remember
I
that?
heard
Yeah.
about this.
And no excuses was, we'd say to kids, I'll tell you, Megan, because you're here. Kids would say, we'd say, hey, are you in a small group? Oh no, Wednesday night I've got volleyball, or Wednesday night I've got soccer. or Wednesday. So we just did it every day of the week. We had small groups on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday morning. So we just no excuses. Pick a time. We'll have it for you.
It's there.
Yeah, I'm not sure how well that worked.
I think everybody quit.
I was gonna say the bags under your eyes. Be like,
No,
I remember the no excuses. I don't think there was one on Monday. I think it was every day of the week. But
Yeah.
But I think really what happened,
Connected to
most
church.
of our volunteers had said, you know what, really, Wednesday night works best, or whatever it was.
Yeah,
I think we were like begging people,
Leadership-wise,
like,
it was
can you
hard.
do a Saturday
Had to
morning
be.
one? Okay.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
But I think try it.
Yeah,
I mean, you can
absolutely.
always try it for a season and see how students respond and leaders respond.
absolutely, yeah,
I
Have you
say
noticed,
yay to
Megan, how
small
much
groups.
he's yawning?
yeah.
that was a sigh. That wasn't a yawn.
Are you sad at your performance
You
today?
hated my answer?
Huh?
No.
Yeah, the show is
No,
definitely.
Are you kidding? My performance is stellar as always. I'm just waiting for you guys to keep up.
I'm gonna send another one here. It says move it to Seth. Seth's our executive producer.
Oh, okay.
This is
Yeah.
one about it's just kind of it's an interesting one about marijuana.
I
Let's
love
just put
it.
it that way. It's
Let's
going to
put
go
it.
to the
Seth has
it's
a lot
going
of
to go to the
experience there,
community.
so
there.
Oh,
Poor
my dog.
I know.
Seriously.
I know. Well, his love is split now that he's got a baby.
Yeah, baby and a
No one
dog.
loves babies.
And a puppy.
No one loves babies.
Moms
Okay, let
do.
me tell you a story. Our dog is like on its last leg, literally its last leg, because his legs are hurting.
Wait a minute, it's got 1 out of 4 legs.
Well,
Kirby's dog.
Kathy was
Work.
carrying it around the house last night. Can't even climb up the stairs.
Oh, that's
So this morning I wake
That's so
up.
funny.
I wake up. I know. I wake up and the dog's not moving.
Oh.
Not moving, and I'm thinking, oh gosh,
suffocated it last
do I
night.
have to get like a plastic bag? What do I do?
Oh, yeah,
Because
what
I
do
want to
you
get
do?
the dog
You
out
can
of here.
still pet it for the first 24 hours.
No, I didn't want Kathy to wake up and see her dog dead.
Oh. That's the Mish right there.
Do you have a custom
Really?
ringtone?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
It's
That
like a news report.
Seriously.
Nish McGill reporting from Kittyland.
So anyway, I think the dog's dead, and I'm going, okay, I'm going to have to try
no.
to sneak it out of the house, throw it in the trunk or
my
something
God.
like that so Kathy doesn't see it.
Enabling.
So I walk up to the dog. I really think it's dead.
So what happened?
Its tail moved. When I got close, his tail moved. I was like, oh, God. Okay. I hope the dog dies on somebody else's time.
That'd be funny to watch back. People are rewinding right now.
Yeah.
They're rewinding going, wait.
About poor Monty. Not
I was
anything.
concerned about getting the joke. The scare.
All
Did you get
right.
that?
Oh,
All right. Got it.
All right, last question because we said we're going to start doing little shorter shows.
Let's do it. All right.
All right.
yeah, 36 minutes. But
Hey,
So,
Youth
like
Ministry
longer.
Garage. First of all, thanks for the pod. What'd you say?
It feels like longer.
feels like longer. That's not a good
I
sign.
know. That's
That's
when
nice.
Matt's on his game
We gotta
like
wake
this.
that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, Maddie. One more question. You got to finish.
I'm a part-time youth pastor. I live a very busy life. Now, this is actually a good question for you. So try to
when you
focus.
say
and-
actually, which question is not a good question for me?
well,
The
normally
one where you read the guy's
the
name
questions
earlier.
when you're not thinking or paying attention, those ones aren't good.
Here we go.
I live a very busy life, but always look forward to listening and watching new episodes as they come out, even when they come out delayed, like a month later.
Oh, that's
My question seems like a generic one, so I am not the only one feeling this way. Lately, I've been dealing with daily discontentment. That's why I thought maybe it'd be good for you.
oh, you are
Um,
so sad.
Not necessarily a major problem, but just kind of tired of my daily routine. Part of this could be because I'm part-time in ministry and desire for full-time. I take classes. I work 32 hours a week at a doctor's office to pay bills. My question is this. How did you deal with days of discontent? And do you have any books you would recommend I read? Thanks for your time. Palm City, Florida. This is Chrisman
Kochik?
Kochik. Just in case you want to give me free stuff. We do want to give you free stuff. We want to give you something from Youth Ministry 360. They're
Like
very
Everyone's
responsive.
great today. Yeah.
Yeah, and let's give them... Youth Ministry 360 is... here's what we're going to send you from Youth Ministry
Oh, wow.
360.
Here it is.
Oh, you
Game
got
on.
an email. Wow.
Well, it's actually New Believer stuff. New Believer material. And
Strong. Oh, that new, the book called New?
it's called New. First Steps
I
for
wanna
New
get
Christ
that.
Followers.
We-
4 weeks of biblically
like
sound, interactive, and creative daily devotions. So you are going to get the book called
Is
New.
it
I kinda
online?
stalk-
Is it a book?
It's a book, physical book. And like when someone trusts Christ or
This
they
is
fill
a
out a
book
response card or come forward, you can give them the book and
That's cool.
I read about it and I was like, that's
You
great.
didn't read it yet?
No, I want to get it. I kind of stalk them, in all honesty.
Yeah.
I really like Andy
Their
over
stuff
there.
looks
Andy
great.
Blanks is such a stud. And he's the one that wrote that. But anyhow.
Okay.
Great. So how do you deal with daily discontent? Good question.
So were you saying Les Bradford's not a stud?
No, he's okay. But I like Andy a lot.
All right, discontentment. Go.
No, discontentment. I think
That sigh.
That was a fake
That
sigh.
means this is about to be authentic.
I can't wait to see how Mr. Copywriter
Happy.
writes the thing for the show, because
Oh, yeah.
we got dead dogs, we got
Just call it
messages.
sigh.
Yeah.
Sigh.
One long sigh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
36 minutes that felt like an hour.
With Matt
no.
McGill.
Oh gosh,
All right.
this is great. Anybody else got any other things?
No. Any other bits before we answer? Go.
Yep.
You
go.
got this.
Discontentment. I think I think you don't want to ignore it. I think that if you tell yourself, "Oh, I shouldn't be discontent," like to go straight to a guilt or a shame would be tough. I think you would miss out on what God's trying to tell you right now. So that's one thing. Is I'd stop and think about it. I'd stop and try and label it. Where is it coming from? When do you feel that way? What causes that? I think it's important to share with somebody. A couple somebodies. I think that if you share with too many peoples, that's no good, because it's just going to feed on itself and grow, and nothing's going to happen. I think you need some people in your life that are positive. I am.
That's why I hang around you.
I know.
I was gonna say.
Freaking frick.
Perfect.
I mean, that's the thing. Is like totally.
That got a double.
Yeah.
I got a freaking frick.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. See, Megan, how horrible is this? This is ridiculous, isn't it?
This might be
It's
one of our
amazing that I can get
shows.
up out of bed every day. But you know why I can? I'm on top. Right? So, the ridiculous is not Katie that time.
Yeah.
Okay, finish the question.
Sure.
Oh, that's great. I think you need to stop and hear what it is that God's trying to tell you, and I think you got to make a change. You either change yourself or you change your situation. And if you can't change the situation, then you have to change you. And if you can't change you, then it's time to change the situation and move to another job or another life. You change your life in a significant way. I think one thing I've heard you say before on this podcast is to change up your schedule, is to do something different, is to do something out of the ordinary, to actually do something different in your schedule, in your daily life. And I don't know exactly what example you gave for that, but I remember you saying that. And I think that's a good thing too, where you can make a small change in your situation without making a drastic change. And I think that can be important. But I think you just don't want to dwell there for a long time. You don't want to dwell there for a long time, because there is always crappy things that are happening, but there's also always good things that are happening. And I think to live in one or the other too much isn't healthy. I mean, you can learn from the negative, and you can be encouraged and learn from the positive too. So there's just a few things.
It's good.
You guys got anything?
I do. I have a book recommendation. When I was going through daily discontentment, which I think everybody has or will or whatever go through, there was a book by H.B. London called The Heart of a Great Pastor. Mm-hmm. Most of the book I don't remember, but one chapter in particular was called Bloom Where You're Planted, and it just spoke to me that God has planted me and called me and put me right there where I was.
Yep.
And that was where I was supposed to be. And yes, the rhythms and they become ruts, and you can get frustrated, and you're
Right.
But I was planted there, and
Yeah.
and then out of that discontentment, stayed 3.5 years beyond when I thought it was done and it was over. And God kept us there for a long time, and we saw some amazing things. I'm so thankful for that. Yeah. So I think that book's probably out of print. Maybe they brought it back. I don't know, but it's a great, that chapter, Bloom Where You're Planted. It just spoke to me like crazy. So
yeah, and I think if you, like, that reminded me, if you change the situation when you're supposed to be changing your heart, then the discontentment is only going to follow with
That's
you.
really good.
That is good fun.
And so you gotta look in first.
Well, Matt just said something good, so we should end the show.
Yeah, that was a good one to end on
Yeah.
right there.
Wow. There we go. 43 minutes. We finally struck gold.
I love it.
Nice. All right. Love you guys. Always a blast to be together. Can't wait. That was episode 184. First time to have Megan, any guest in the garage.
we had
Megan,
Yay!
awesome.
We
Way
have
to
our
be here.
Audience of one.
That's right.
Oh, and our audience of one.
Yeah.
Oh, gee. Jeez.